There are a lot of things for an administrator to consider when trying to implement fairness and always equal. One, of course, is the different philosophies that might be in the building, and you got to figure out what those are. Quite often, teachers don't even know what their philosophy is. When they're finally asked to articulate and maybe defend their thinking, suddenly some core values rise to the surface. It can make people a little defensive, a little skittish to really enter into conversation. So really create a culture. Are we comfortable talking to each other about very candid things? A lot of times people grade in the hopes that no one will find out how it's done. And if somebody calls me in over the summer because a parent is complaining about a grade in February, I have no idea how I did it. Don't talk to me. That's no way to run a profession. So we want to be very, very coherent. We want teachers to be able to explain what they do, in fact, become ambassadors for differentiated instruction, for standards-based grading, for the assessment that's very appropriate for all of us. So teachers have to be well-versed. One of the things I found is that not a lot of teachers are well-read or well-discussed. They really don't talk about this much. In fact, in a lot of teacher preparation institutions, there's not like a class on how do you set up your grade book, what's formative versus summative. It tends to be statistics and educational measurements and standard deviations. But really tell me, how do I design my test I'm going to give on Friday? That's really very important. And there's a way to designing a test that's intelligent and helpful to all the stakeholders. And think about the conversation, the parent-teacher conversation. Well, Mrs. Smith, your daughter Amy, she did very well in test 1, 2, and 4, but bombed test 3. What can we do? Well, that doesn't mean anything. If you're standards-based, you'd say, well, your daughter seems to understand the African caravans and what was happening there, but is struggling with the silk trade route with China. Now we're talking about standards and objectives and outcomes, and we can really do something. Well, teachers need to get that training. So yeah, a needs assessment would be good, but sometimes teachers aren't the best at their own needs assessment. They don't know when they don't know. It's like students as well. So they might say, yeah, I know about formative assessment. I heard it one time at an in-service. But does it really manifest in the classroom in a very constructive way? Helping teachers really get on that would be really good. If an administrator waits for 100% buy-in, well, it's like what Anthony Muhammad calls a willful act of failure. You don't wait for 100% buy-in. It's not going to happen. Everybody's going to be at a different level of preparation and readiness. So we're going to go ahead and do it. But I could give some teachers a timeline. Look, in 3 years, I'm really going to be very, very demanding that you do these things. But let me give you all the support you need in the interim. Let's set those timelines to pull that off. That's going to be really important. When principals and superintendents and administrators of any sort sit down to say, we want everybody to do standards-based grading or differentiated instruction or reading across the content areas or technology integration, all of those are really talking about cultural change. So the best thing that administrators can do is get well-read and talk with others about how do you change the culture of a building. If you just focus on grading and those practices, you're probably not going to get all the great ideas you need. Now, I can provide ideas, other people can talk about how they've worked with other people, but really it's how do I get people to look at their beliefs, not just change the structure. And that means the safe place to try things and then maybe fail, and then share what we would do differently the next time we do it to make sure it would work. That's got to be there. There has to be this expectancy. It has to permeate all that we do. So I'd put it on the website. I would tell parents about it to look for evidence of it and work coming home. I know this creates kind of again, that collegial peer pressure, but you know what? If everybody's like looking for it, well, heck, I better try it myself just to not be so hassled by everybody else. Once teachers go into this, they kind of rediscover why they went into teaching because there's so many more aha moments in kids' minds. There's hope in the classroom. They rediscover all that, the constructive feeling, the sharing of the compassion. I'm teaching to make a difference. It starts happening. It's very easy to get cynical and kind of drift away from that. And we want to make sure that teachers stay very invested themselves. They find more meaning in it. I've never had a teacher who has really gotten into this, all the aspects of it, like reconsidering redos or do-overs, reconsidering zeros on the 100-point scale, formative versus summative, how you deal with late work, setting up the grade book, all these wonderful things you can do. I've never had a teacher go into that and want to return to the way they used to do it because kids are learning at much higher levels. There's more hope in the day. There seems to be a general positiveness that happens. I know that's really weird and not everybody trusts me that's listening to me right now, I have to build credibility. But when they read every single person in any kind of assessment or grading format is sharing some of the same ideas, they realize it's not one person just bored on a Sunday afternoon deciding to write a manifesto the way the world should be. This has been vetted in high schools, middle schools, elementary schools, everywhere. So it's an exciting time to be a part of teaching. And in the United States and Canada, I know in particular in North America, this is the way we're moving. So we can say nothing for 8 to 10 years and whine about it when it doesn't go our way, or we can jump in and give it our insight and our feedback and really chart the path we take. That's the kind of mindset the administrator wants to set as he works with the faculty.